Before I take questions, I want to say congrats to Sacramento, to Mike and his staff and his team. They were incredible. Had an amazing season, and this was a fantastic series. I mean, just great basketball for 7 games. They've had, frankly, a much better season than we have. We've been kind of up and down all year, as you know, and they put together a whole season where they just became a contender. And the young talent, the coaching, it was impressive to watch and really difficult to play against. So congrats to the Kings. We are thrilled to move on, and there's a lot to discuss. I think the first two things that come to mind are Steph Curry having 50 points in a Game 7, never been done before, incredible, and Kevon Looney just keeps doing it every game. 21 boards tonight, 10 offensive. I thought he controlled much of the game with his offensive boards. I think Loon is one of the best centers in the league. I really do. And people don't recognize it because he's not dunking and shooting threes and all that stuff. But this guy is a flat-out winner, and he's a machine. And we wouldn't be here without him. So with that, I'll take questions.
Steve, were you drawing up stuff to get Steph the ball, to Steph open, to get Steph shots, or was that just Steph finding it?
The biggest factor offensively tonight was our spacing. And in Game 6, our spacing was a disaster. And the whole focus yesterday was looking at film, seeing why there was nowhere to go, and we were just cluttered. So I thought today we spread the floor really well. The guys were really disciplined, and that gave Steph more room, but he's the one who went out and made the plays. So we just were smart. 7 turnovers for the game, 25 assists. We just made simple plays over and over again. And we talk about it all the time. We usually don't do it. But today we did it. And that's what we had to do to win this series.
Steve, a lot of people talk about championship DNA, and sometimes that talk kind of elicits rolls of the eyes and, oh, is there really such a thing? Did we just see that?
No doubt. Game 7, Game 7s are difficult. You saw how many free throws were missed, by both teams. These guys are all human, and everybody's nervous, and so there's a need to have experience in Game 7s, and our guys have that, our core guys. And I think what it takes is just taking the game possession by possession, which our guys did beautifully tonight. Not thinking about the outcome, just thinking about the process, and repeating and repeating and repeating, and breathing during the timeouts, and staying locked in and staying focused. And our guys did that. But they've learned to do that through a decade of these type of games. So the most impressive thing to me with Steph, Clay, Draymond, Loon, Andre, to do this for a decade, it's incredible. The energy that it takes to fight off challengers year after year, and to have to prepare and win big games, and doing it over and over again. It's the reason these guys are Hall of Famers and champions. This is not a 1-year flash in the pan. This is a decade that they've done it, and it's incredible to watch.
Steve, a couple times you were caught on TV talking to Steph on the sidelines. Can you tell us a little bit about what you were saying to him? And also, you've seen him a lot, so does he ever surprise you, what he does?
He doesn't surprise me. We all take him for granted because he's brilliant night after night, and we've been watching this for 10 years. And we just, you just have to remind yourself every once in a while, big picture. This is one of the great players in the history of the game. But that's how I felt, back when in my playing days, with Michael Jordan. You'd see it night after night, so you just took it for granted. So that's how it is with Steph. It's over and over and over again. And the resilience and the work that goes into that and the focus, it's incredible to watch. I guess we were just taking a lot of timeouts. You asked about what our discussions were. It was just about getting rest. And we took a few timeouts during the game just to get him a chance to breathe and our other guys. All I remember saying to him and the group was just, focus on the next possession and don't worry about results. Just keep, doing all the things we've talked about all series long, rebounding, taking care of the ball, possession after possession. And if tonight was the best game plan discipline that we've had all year for sure, and one of the great games that I can remember since I've been here in terms of being that locked in for 48 minutes, and that's what it took.
Tony Harvey, NBC Sports Radio. Coach Kerr, the other night, that 11:30 regular season on the road record, that's distant memory. You done won the last 2 straight in this building on the road. Did it kind of like justify, what you meant the other night when you won here, that this is what your team looked like, when they're all together and they're all healthy?
Yeah, but the other night, that's what our team looks like sometimes too, in Game 6. And it's not easy to do this, to have a performance like this. You can't do that every night. So there are going to be letdowns. And the other night we played poorly, and Sacramento was great, and that's why we had to come in here and do what we just did today. But that's what the playoffs are about. You have to be able to bounce back and respond and win on the road, and our guys have been doing that for a long time.
Coach, over here, you said pregame you were going to have some adjustments that you weren't going to share with us. Can you elucidate those a little bit now and the thought process behind some of those?
Not really, because we play the Lakers in 48 hours, and I don't really want to say anything. I think the one thing I'll mention is just what I said before. Our spacing was just dramatically better tonight, and because we were so bunched together the other night, we just couldn't execute, and we turned it over. And so, given that the spacing was better, we were able to execute offensively, and that I thought our offense really helped our defense tonight. But we gave up 5 points off 7 turnovers. The other night it was like 19 turnovers for 23, 24 points. That's the game right there. And along with the rebounding, we had 18 offensive boards. So. This has been a possession series. Whichever team has controlled possessions has generally won. So I thought that was the key tonight.
I'd normally wait the day to ask you, but you mentioned it right there at the Lakers Tuesday night. Early thoughts on the series and the fact that it is coming so quickly. There's, I think, only one day off between every game.
Well, we're excited just to have the opportunity. I think the Lakers changed their team dramatically at the trade deadline. They made some brilliant moves and became an entirely different team. And Darvin has done an incredible job guiding that team. They're excellent defensively. We know they've got, one of the all-time greats in LeBron, but a lot of talent across the roster. So it's going to take a big effort to beat them. We know how good they are.
Coach here, Ruth for Hispanic Sports Media. This team has prevailed through a lot of adversity this series. How proud are you of your guys and the resilience that they showed this series?
Yeah, incredibly proud. And I think resilience shows in a lot of different ways. People aren't going to talk about Clay because he shot 4 for 19 today, but his defense was amazing. And I don't know, to be able to play that kind of defense in the midst of a bad shooting night, that's not easy to do. But Clay is such a gamer, such a competitor. I'm as proud of him as anybody. We're going to talk about Steph and Loon because of their brilliant individual performances, but how you play when things aren't going your way really defines you as a player. And I think tonight, Clay was he showed why he's such a great two-way player and why he's a champion. 4 for 19. and he's a plus 30, highest plus minus on the team. His defense was incredible.
Coach Kerr, Kings Digital right here. First of all, congratulations on advancing to the next round. I know you already touched about this at the beginning, but I wanted to hear your thoughts on the Kings team and what is the future looking like for this young group of guys moving forward?
Yeah, well, they have a really fun team, a beautiful offense. They did a great job of putting a system in place that maximized their talent, and it was beautiful to watch them play this year. And they got a lot of young guys and great coach, and they've made really good decisions organizationally. So they have a very bright future, and we have a lot of respect for them.
Steve, as you know, in the home road splits this year, your defense was the biggest sort of factor. Right?
Yeah.
The points given up, the percentages. You only allowed 42 points tonight in the second half.
Yeah.
I don't think they scored in the first 4
Right.
minutes of the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
How much of that was just the urgency and desperation of Game 7? How much is it something Draymond was doing? How much you mentioned Clay? What sort of sparked that?
Well, you can eliminate the 41 road games we played in the regular season because we're a different team now. We're whole. We have Gary Payton back on the roster. We have Wiggins back in the mix, and we've talked about this, but this group has been together for 10 years, so it's not easy to get up for game after game after game. So we had a lot of struggles this year for a lot of reasons, but we're whole now, and this is an excellent defensive team, and it's an excellent road team. So forget all the other stuff that happened earlier.
Steve, back here, Chris Biederman, Sacramento Beat. Kings fans take a lot of pride. In creating one of the most hostile environments in the NBA. Just what's it say about Steph to have that performance in that environment, and what's it kind of take from a star of his caliber to do it against?
I think Steph thrives, and Draymond, Clay. I think those guys thrive in tough environments, and there's no better feeling in the NBA than getting a win on the road in the playoffs. It's the ultimate, and these guys. Once we got over the disappointment of losing Game 6, I think the focus shifted towards the opportunity, and this is what these guys do. And again, for Steph to be the first player ever to get 50 in a Game 7, he's sublime.
Hi, Steve. Just a quick question about your history with LeBron. I know he's on a different team now than when you used to face him with the Cavaliers, but does any of that history that you've had with him personally factor into how you approach this series and what the sort of institutional knowledge, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, we've played each other so many times over the years in the playoffs. One of the first things I learned about LeBron the first time we played them in the finals was just how smart he was. Like coming out of timeouts, he knew what we were doing. And so you take that into account. You have to recognize just what a brilliant mind he has, and not just the physical talent. And he knows our team, although I think this team is very different than the teams back then. 15 through 18 when we played each other in the finals. But we do have some of the same tendencies, and he'll recognize some of those things. But we're not quite the same team, and we're doing some different things. But we know how good he is and how smart he is.
Steve, you talked about the spacing and how it helped you guys a little bit tonight. Steph had obviously took up a lot of slack because Clay and Wiggs weren't shooting the ball very well. But how did he navigate that space so much better than they did in terms of just making it an efficient night for him while they struggled?
He's just Steph Curry. I mean, he's that good. I also think, his approach to these games is he's going to go down swinging. He took 18 threes, so biggest number is the one turnover. So because he had space, he was able to attack and be really aggressive. Thank you.